Also, though, bubbling up now is another story out of the NFL, and this one is a little bit of like a sort of older story. That this is exactly sort of the future of the Kareem Hunt story, right? Is somebody does something bad, we let the press about it die down, and then we, the team, in a transactional, we don't care about values, only about winning, mode, picks up a player who has been accused of one of these kinds of incidents, domestic violence, assault, whatever it is. Well, now, of course, what I'm talking about is Reuben Foster. If you don't remember this story, Reuben Foster is a linebacker who is under investigation for domestic violence and has been released by the San Francisco 49ers, but is now being signed by the Redskins, the, transactional Redskins. Jason Witten, one of the commentators on ESPN, was asked about this by Joe Tessitore. Did I get that right? Here is what Jason Witten said.
So the Redskins willing to take a chance on Reuben Foster. Should they have?
100% no. I believe the Washington Redskins use horrendous judgment in claiming this guy. And I understand that it's an ongoing investigation, but my family's been affected by domestic violence. I understand the anguish that it causes. And, young players just have to understand that there is no tolerance for putting your hands on a woman, period.
Or any other human being in the course of your daily life off the field. You don't put your hands on people. And shame on the Washington Redskins for trying to sneak this in under the radar. And yay for Jason Witten for telling it like it is. Why can't the NFL take that stance? Why isn't the NFL taking that stance? I am sorry. And I know when there's these great players and you want to get them on your team, but I have got to believe that there are other players that are just as good that are not in trouble for domestic violence, alleged or otherwise. Look, the bottom line is if Reuben Foster goes through the court system and is found not guilty, then fine. But it's in process. He's under investigation currently. And until he is cleared, no. Hire somebody else. It's too fraught right now. Now, you could say he's innocent until proven guilty. Sure, you can. But you don't get yourself in those situations unless there's something going on, and you can't just keep hiring these people. If one team thought it was bad enough to let you go, that should be clear enough that nobody else picks you up. I mean, can we just say, and again, I don't know enough about football to talk about whether Colin Kaepernick was a good player or not a good player, but he didn't get picked up by anybody else, and all he did was take a knee. He didn't hit anybody. No domestic violence.
So if I can inject a little bit of the sports knowledge into this.
You bring that on,
okay.
You guy Nick.
So something interesting happened with the Steelers this year. That their running back Le'Veon Bell just didn't show up for camp. They wouldn't give him money. He didn't the contract he wanted, so he didn't show up. And he didn't show up, and he didn't show up. So they had the backup guy, who no one had heard of before, a guy named James Conner. He's a cancer survivor. So far this year, his numbers are exactly the same as this all-star running back. It has been proven over and over that the talent level in the NFL, if you're even a third-string bench warmer, you're really, really good, and you can get out there and go play. So for them to say that, oh, well, we had a weakness at linebacker in Reuben Foster's case, and we had to pick, there's a bazillion other guys on the free agent market who could be just as good as him,
right,
who you could pick up and run with. Colin Kaepernick, good quarterback. I wouldn't say probably elite by any means, but good quarterback. He could go out there and play and win you games. I mean, for God's sake, he played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, yeah, something like that was so egregious you couldn't pick him up, but a guy hitting a woman is okay.
No big deal.
Right. It's these excuses of talent which are completely baseless. You can get any 100 guys out there, and if they train and they learn the playbook, they're just as good.
Yeah, well, and I think just solely based on the fact that there's only so many jobs in the NFL available, it's inevitable that there are more talented players in the country than there are jobs available for NFL players. Therefore, there's got to be somebody else. This idea that this one guy is the only hero in town and he's the only guy we can get is ridiculous. It should not be, Jason Witten rather is completely right. It should not be tolerated. Period. End of story. And the NFL needs to come out as strongly, both in their words and their actions across the board, as somebody like Jason Witten is. Now, obviously, Jason Witten has nothing to lose by saying that. But nonetheless, come on, NFL. It's the Me Too era, man. You got to step up.